Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Trading After Dark episode number 3, entitled Jack Be Nimble. What I'm going to do today is to actually take you through a few sequences that happened during the live Jelly Trader training effort. We're going to look at the morning of Friday, March 4th, 2011. And this was a day where we had followed a trend day, so we are in what we call MATD mode, which stands for Morning After Trend Day, one of my favorite rhythms, the day after trend day. A lot of activity has already occurred in the Globex session, and so what we're going to do here is look at the activity as it relates to after the U.S. session, the U.S. day session starts at 9:30 Eastern. So what you see on your screen, which is frozen for the moment, is it's about 9:33 a.m. Eastern Time. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be leveraging off of the prior day supports. You can see in the 5-minute chart in the top right a support line which reflects very substantial support that had been put in place the prior day on Thursday, March 3rd. And so I'm going to leverage off of that and use what we call the concept of TUB in the Jelly Tank, which stands for Trust Until Broken, TUB. And I'm going to unleash this action in a few seconds here, and what we'll do is we'll watch how I manage this. You can see I'm already long 5 contracts up in the top part of the dome. That represents my position. I'm long 5 contracts, and my idea is to try to get a 30 contract size on to start with. I just added another 5. So I've got 10 on as the market now is starting to retrace its steps, and it will be moving toward that support over the next few minutes. I'd like to get at least a 30 lot on, which would be a partial position. For the purposes of this particular sequence, I was looking at trading a capital balance of 160,000, which allows me to trade 60 contracts. So the idea is to get about 30 on with the option of adding the other 30 upon confirmation. And the confirmation for me would be the market telling me that that market is not only going to hold its support at the 25-26 level, but also provide a good probability for a move up beyond that. So I'll just narrate to the action as I've done before as it unfolds. It'll take a few minutes, of course, to work itself out, and we'll pause and we'll fast forward at times for time purposes. But again, you see I've got what I would call probe trade on. I'm trying to get 30 or so on. My full size I'm defining as 60. And the idea, again, is to leverage off of that prior day support. I've got it marked on my 5-minute chart in the top right, and I've got it marked on my 2500 tick chart in the lower left-hand corner. So, again, this is action after the Globex activity. It should be noted that during the prior day evening session, as well as the early morning session, the Europe session, that the S&Ps actually traded up substantially. They came down to support, bounced, and traded up upwards of 34, 35 as we're watching the market open around 1330 and dropping towards the support from yesterday. So we're looking again to leverage off of the support from the prior day, something that we will do every single day in terms of very high probability. So again, I've got a probe on of 10. You can see I've got some bids below the market. I've got offers up above just in the event that they get hit. Constantly adjusting them as the market action is unfolding. So you see we've got price again coming closer to a better support premise. I'd like to get long here as close to 27, 26 areas possible. So you can see I'm going to start to put more position on here, or at least try to. And again, the idea is so long as we are holding that 13, 25 to 26 level, that the premise is valid not only for a hold of that level, but for a further continuation of the prior day trend. It should be noted as well, even though you don't see it on this chart, that the hourly charts and the 2-hour charts are a bit extended because of the prior day's action. We pretty much, as you can see in the 5-minute chart, had a day that never pulled back. Just put another 5 spot on there that you see. And so the prior day, again, very, very strong. The idea being that you're going to have stuck shorts that are going to need to take action on any movement toward price support, and then you're going to have ticked off longs as well that need to get in, and those two segments of the trading population should provide some impetus for the market to continue its prior day action and provide us with some opportunities. So again, we'll just watch this a little bit. You can see I've got 15 on. My plan is essentially to get some more on as I'm getting better prices here. This is not, by the way, doubling down. This is managing risk with size, probing into a trade, making up for the lack of perfection in the market in terms of when it's going to turn, as well as making up for the lack of perfection in your own trading. You can see now I've got up to 25. So I'm getting close to my 30 spot, which I wanted to have on before I got confirmation of the turn. All right. So I've got 25 on, and the idea really here is to see if I can get that 30 on. I think I put that extra 5 on here at least to get that 30 spot on. At least take advantage of this first move. So I've got wholesale prices here. I've got a premise intact, and to take advantage. You see, again, I've always got exits above the market. 15 spot at 875, 10 spot at 9 1/4. And that is just so critical in this business where it's so often first in, first out. Okay, another 5 goes on there. So I get 30 on. I get 30. I want to trade that 30 out with the idea of actually getting back in 30 again and possibly up to 60 once this thing confirms that there's further upside potential. So at this point, it's pretty much a waiting game. All right. It was a good week in the tank. We had a really good group, people catching on to the concepts very, very quickly. This is something, again, I do once or twice a year, depending upon demand. I don't heavily market. I don't mass market it. I don't send out email blasts. People that become aware of these efforts, certainly I enjoy opening doors, but I don't like going to knock on doors. So again, for those of you that might be interested in education down the road, we've got the Jelly video series, of course, and we've got the live trader training effort, which was going on at this time. So again, just watching the action here, we've got, we're long our 30, not really concerned, have very high probability, at least the first trip down here during the U.S. session, that will be in pretty good shape. Now as this evolves, a few things to keep in mind again is, as I mentioned before, the overnight session and the prior evening session, both traded all the way up toward 33, 34, 35 levels. Is it likely to do it again during the U.S. day session? Well, I'll take the trade, I'll position for it, but we're going to have to be nimble if it doesn't, because this will be the third or fourth test down at these price levels, and the more that you test, the more likely that you are to break. So again, you see I've got offers above the market. There's 875 that gets hit. Nice pop up off support. I've got 925 trying to fill, 925 fills, and I'm flat. So that sequence is done. Now what I'm basically waiting for is a little bit more market information to tell me, okay, I've still got support to my south. It's held nicely, and I've got the wholesale profit, or the profit from the wholesale entry to the retail exit. Okay, wholesale buyers bought where I bought, and now the late to the game guys are starting to come in. Those that hesitate, those that don't understand, where the wholesale levels are. So that group came in, sold to them, and now it's back into pretty much a waiting game. And I'm going to fast forward here just a little bit, and we'll pick up the action shortly. Okay, we've moved ahead a few minutes here, and you see we've gotten price back down to those wholesale levels again. So I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to get back in, try to get in a 30 spot, again with the idea of adding to that and getting to 60 on a turn and trading that out. Fridays, by the way, I don't tend to trade very heavily. My sizes in general are reduced. I'm trading a smaller capital balance as I teach because of focus issues, but the concepts, the principles, the premises all remain the same. I just happen to be trading larger when I'm on my own. So again, this was during the Jelly Trader training effort. A few things I'm noticing as this is playing out. I love the fact that we had a negative tick reading on that first drop. The MATD strategy includes buying on that first negative tick reading, exiting into the retail move, and that worked out real well. Still trusting my support levels down here, but starting to notice a bit of an issue with the ticks. The fact that we popped up off that low tick was great, but we didn't cross the zero line. And I want to see if we actually start developing a trend and a tendency where we might see some struggling. As I mentioned before, we've already seen this market pop 3 or 4 times in the overnight session up to some nice levels. And so, whether we get that during the day session, that's going to be a bit of an issue and something I've got to be aware of. So again, getting back in at these levels, I've got the offers up above. Something certainly that we should take note of here, by the way, is that we had news coming out at 10 o'clock. In this case, it was factory orders. Not too concerned about that until around the time that comes out, and we're still looking at about 9:44, 9:45 time-wise here, and beyond that, not too concerned until we get near 10 o'clock. So again, just got a partial position on. I'm not concerned about my position. Managing risk with size. I only have a quarter of the position on as I'm fully defining it for my $160,000 cash that I brought to the table basically today. And so I'm just managing risk with size. My premise is intact. No reason to panic out. Certainly I will reassess, and you'll pick on that a little bit later. So a little bit of a double bottom. I like the fact that I've got a stronger tick reading on the second drop. That's making me feel pretty good. And again, just managing risk with size. So we'll continue to watch this play out. I'm a little concerned though with the lack of the pop at this point. Not really coming up hard off that divergence. So basically, you see what I'm trying to do here is just scale out of the position. Something I told the team this past week is to make sure that you do not enter or exit based on where you were in a position previously. In other words, the fact that I was in at 825 doesn't matter to the market at all. The market is always either a buy or a sell. The market is having a bias of going up or going down. Or certainly it can stay the same. But to the extent that we've got price movement, I've just decided that I want to get myself flat. So I'm easing out of this position a little bit. I'm going to scratch. I'm going to get back in cash. I'm going to reassess exactly what's going on. I realize I've got news coming up here in a few minutes. So I'm just getting out of the position gracefully. I'm not looking to make money or lose money or anything like that on this particular trade, as is the case on any trade. I'm just looking basically to get myself back in cash. I'm not going to barf it out at the retail levels. Certainly expect support to hold going into the news. I've got tick divergence. So just want to hang on to these opportunities, but do so wisely. So all I'm doing is as the price is coming back up, I'm deciding to get myself back out in cash. And then I'm going to give myself a little bit more time to figure out what I ought to be doing for the future. Again, my expectation and my idea is to get back in again and get in fairly strong in terms of size. If I can get that 1 minute crossing up, if I can get ticks not only to stop the downturn, but to actually provide potentially upside. I need to start seeing some positive ticks for that to happen. I've just got out of half of the remaining position, just got a small 5 spot on it. It's basically hardly any position at all at this point, given the size that I've defined. And you'll see shortly that I go ahead and kick this out. And then after this, we're going to have a sequence essentially that takes place closer to the release of the news, and we'll fast forward to that. So in essence, what I end up doing here, as I look at my trade logs over here, I guess I'm going to dance around this a little bit. I guess I do go ahead and put, I scale back into a bit of a position. So I'm trying to get a little bit of a feel for the market here. I'm trying to, as I often say, I can often feel the market current better if I'm swimming in it than if I'm watching it from the shore. So went ahead and put the other 10 back on. I got my divergence. Tick doesn't look that great, but I still feel okay going into the news. And again, just dancing around this. So I'm doing this a little bit back and forth. By the way, I know you can see the P&L in the lower right-hand corner, but as I told the team, I can't when I'm trading, and I don't when I'm trading. I actually have Post-it notes covering that. I've got a double Post-it note that is sized for that P&L window, which is incredibly important to me because I don't care about what the P&L is over the course of a day, a week, whatever, okay? I really don't. I just want to trade well and execute well. The reason I've got it on the screen is for recording purposes so you can relate to what's going on. But I would certainly encourage you not to do that. So now you see I've got the 15 spot on. I'm holding well. I've got orders above the market. Really expecting those to get hit. All right, so we're getting the price action we expected. Getting that nice pop off the retail level. I'm starting to see, or I should say wholesale level, I'm starting to see tick go positive, feeling good about it, but I'm not getting that price movement. I'm not getting that price pop beyond just the bungee move back up. So again, I'm lightening the load. We're getting back into a retail situation here. I'm trying to get filled on the offer, and I'm not getting hit. I'm not getting hit up here, which is shocking me, really, because I'm expecting to, and nobody can tell a weak market from a relative perspective better than someone who's trying to get out of a long position. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm sitting there at 29 with only 5 stinking contracts, and I'm not getting filled. Ding, ding, ding. You know, that's certainly telling me something in terms of the potential of this opportunity. So, you know, I'm kind of putting that data in the back of my mind. All right. So where are we? 950 or so. So what you'll see here in a little bit as well is we're going to fast forward to 955. I'm going to go ahead and put a few more contracts on, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we've moved the time a little bit forward. We're at 9:55 or so, and I'm at this point starting to scale into more of a position. I can see I just put another 10 spot on there at 8.25, so I'm long 25, same intent as before, still waiting for confirmation. Got my offers up above, just trading this out. It's half of my size roughly, but I've got news coming up shortly, and I want a confirming turn on the lesser time frames before I go crazy with that larger position. So again, I'm long 25. I got 25 up above here, and I'm again noticing the lack of price follow through. I'm getting ticks that are barely going above zero. I'm getting price which is not reacting at all, and every time it comes up to the 28, 29 level, it's getting shot right back. So as I'm recognizing that, I'm again putting offers out and getting out into each one of these pops to lighten my load. All right, so I got 10 sitting there at 775, which lowers my position now to 15. Adjust my offers to the north. Again, we've got data coming out, so I'm continuing to probe a little bit, get information. Again, you can see based on the P&L on the right-hand side, I'm doing so with very little damage, if anything. Again, I'm not looking at that over the course of the day, but you know, just in terms of understanding the impact of the decisions as they're being made, I'm doing a little bit of this, you know, probing, getting more market information, trying to exit into the pops until I get more data. If it comes down on weakness, I get out as it pops back up. And so I do a little bit of this back and forth. So I'm going to fast forward to the announcement at 10 o'clock, and we'll see what I do at that point. So at this point, I am long 20, and we'll pick it up in a few minutes. Okay, we've moved ahead a few minutes here and getting ready for the release of factory orders. Put another 5 spot on. The tendency of the market is to continue its path of least resistance, what we call polar, P-O-L-R, in terms of rather lame market news. And I would categorize factory orders as a fairly lame market mover. And so expecting, again, a pop off of the support. So here we go, 10 o'clock, and the data's come out. At this point, I haven't looked at the data yet. I'm expecting the market either way to pop. That is the path of least resistance. And I'm watching. I've got offers above the market. And it's not moving a whole heck of a lot here. And at this point, I do glance at the news and realize that it was a slight better than expected number that came out. And so I'm thinking, okay, you know, here we go. We got a pretty good chance at this. But we've got a market, again, which is extended 3 or 4 times during the overnight session. I've got ticks that still are not moving a whole lot. See, they're just holding the zero line. I've got price that ain't moving a whole lot. I've got news which is slightly better than expected. And so I'm getting to a make or break point. If this thing doesn't move up right here, I've got a problem in terms of my expectation. So you can see I'm trying to even offer out at 875 there to see if I can get hit. It's just weak. It's weak. So what I'm going to basically start doing here is gracefully get out of this position. I have no premise for me to put more than my current size on. I got out of my 5 there. There's no turn confirmation. Ticks look horrendous. Price is not following through. Price is still essentially in a 1-minute downtrend and a 5-minute downtrend, and I'm not getting that action. So what I'm going to start doing over the course of the next several minutes as you'll see, is to start lightening my load. So I'm down to 15 now, down off to 25. Rule number one in trading is know what not to do, and what you shouldn't do is be heavy when you're not getting what you expect. When in doubt, when wrong, get smaller, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. So just lighten my size. I can always get back in at an instant, anytime. If you get out of a position, you can always get right back in. So again, watching this, not really feeling great about what's going on here. All right, so lighten the position a little bit, and as I look in about half a minute here, I'm going to give it one last shot. All right, I've got a little bit of a tail on the tick to see if this thing's going to get back up. So I'm going to give it one more shot coming up here at a wholesale level. Right, I don't want to necessarily chase price, but if this shows me that it's going to start its continuation, and we're just getting some noise here, I want to have the position on. So there I go. I just put another relatively small size on, and now I want to see if this is going to take. All right, and again, I'm basically watching, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and giving myself every opportunity. You've got to be stronger than most everybody in this business. When everybody else gets tired, everybody else gets frustrated, that's the time the market's going to move. And so I recognize I want to have at least some position. Again, you look at the P&L on the right-hand side, very little damage. Not relevant in terms of what I'm looking at, but certainly something you should be aware of. Again, I'm not getting the follow-through here, though. And those ticks refuse to budge above zero. So now I've got to start changing my plan. So it's basically to lessen the position that I have and do a complete reassessment. I still have a level that I can trust, a price level, but I don't like all these indicators. So I bang 10 out right there, get my size down. And when in doubt, when something smells wrong, when you smell a rat, get out of Dodge. I don't have any short premises. I can't reverse into a short. I'm just looking at minimizing my long position and then reevaluating things as time goes on. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm managing my risk with size still. I've got roughly a fifth of my position, or sixth of my full position actually on at this point, and just managing my risk that way. So I essentially call this falling gracefully, in terms of giving yourself some opportunity, realizing that this is not an all-in or all-out business. It's not all or nothing. It's not 100%. The market's imperfect. You're imperfect. So you've got to make up for that in the marketplace. So that's reflected in the sequences here. All right. So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit, and we'll pick up the action in a few minutes. Okay, 10:05, still long 10 contracts, price falling, need to continue to get out of my position. We're going to go ahead and cut that one more time. We're testing that low of the day, and I just dumped another 5. So I've got 5 spot on. We're testing our key levels. Tick is looking awful. And now I'm leaving just a little bit on just in case this thing probes down and pops back up. The market's had a tendency to do that in this bull run. We've got strong market from the prior day. I'm really banking on that. But I've cut my size down drastically. I have 1/12 of my position on at this point. And again, I manage my risk with size as much as I do with stop premises. Should I have bailed in the whole thing at this point? Possibly. In hindsight, of course, it looks like I should have. But again, I've reduced my risk with size. And if this thing indeed continues to fall, then I'll go ahead and reverse into some short positions, and I'll make it back. So we'll pick it up in a few minutes here. Okay, market now at 23 and falling, so still holding my earlier 5. I'm going to try a couple of wholesale scalps here in terms of recognizing that we've got a substantial amount of air in the 5-minute timeline. So still get that original 5 spot on, but I'm going to do just some quick scalp testing here. I'm going to give myself about 2 ticks worth of room on all of these. All right, so you see I just bought 15 at 23. The idea is to just scalp that out as the retail buyers and as the short covers will come into play. I want to give myself 2 ticks on this. All right, if it tags 2250, likely going to bail on the darn thing. And as I'm watching it here, expecting it pop up toward 24, not getting it. Market seems weak. I go ahead and bang that back out again. Okay, and you'll see I'm going to do that a couple of times on this way down. So I gave it a shot there, and you'll see I'm going to do the same thing one more time, essentially. And at that point, I'm going to reassess and see if I can either get into a reversal short position on the downtrend, or whether I can get an even better wholesale long position in the continued what I would call the retail bar. So I'm going to try it one more time here, buying 15 at 22.75, and I'll have to make some decisions on what to do with it. And I'm going to do that over the course of the next few minutes. All right, we pick up the market on the lows of the day, 21, getting some substantial negative 1,200 tick readings, which is unsustainable. Still holding my probe on the long side at the wholesale levels and putting myself back out above the market as it's popping up back into short covering and retail buying. And essentially what I'm going to do now is just work on decreasing the size. Notice when I'm doing this every time, I'm not exiting into the retail barf. I'm giving myself room. I'm allowing myself not to get caught up in the emotion of the trade and just objectively taking the trade off. Again, I'm not looking at the P&L. I certainly recognize that the net result of the testing and the probing has resulted in a loss, but I'm not thinking about that whatsoever during the course of the trading day. I'm just looking at retail versus wholesale levels. So this thing's popping up nicely off the low. I'm saving myself probably about $1,500 by not barfing it out at the low. And again, my idea now is to let's close this position and look at either further barf longs or wholesale shorts in terms of taking advantage of the support level that was breached earlier in the day and going from there. So in essence, that's what I am doing at this point. I'm getting out of these final 10 contracts, which I'll do over the course of the next few minutes. So we will come back when those are exited and pick up the next sequence. Okay, a few minutes again here, and taking off the remaining 10 contracts, well off the lows, or 1.5, 2 points off the low, so back down to 5, and I've got one more spot here that I'll exit in about a half a minute as it pops up here. Now, again, the idea is to either reverse into a short trade. I've got a nice premise on the 5-minute, or take other wholesale level opportunities on the long side. All I'm doing at this point is trading the channel. I'm trading the channel, recognizing we're now in an immediate downtrend. They're going to be short opportunities. The market's going to be a sell to the north. It's going to be a buy to the south. Okay, markets don't go to zero. They don't go into infinity. So we're in a channel basically right now. It doesn't matter whether whether you're buying, selling, covering, as long as you are trading the wholesale channel, because that's what markets do. So there I am, flat and reassessing, looking for either a short on a move up or a long on a move down. We'll see what I do. All right, down to 21.25. Starting to get a little bit of tick divergence down here. Lower price, higher tick reading. Going to throw 15 spot out there on the bid. I get hit, and I'm going to maneuver around this a little bit, getting down to some really nice juicy levels. And just going to manage my risk here a little bit. Just lightened it a little bit there, 5 spot, just in case we lost it. One of the things, by the way, you'll notice on this Photon platform is that dark shaded price at 2050 reflects the low of the day. If the market is creating a new low, it goes away. When it puts that new low in and rises a tick above that, it throws that color back up there. So it's a very helpful attribute in terms of seeing if in fact you're starting to bottom out a little bit. So I like the fact there that I saw that we're up 2-3 ticks off the close or off the low of the day. Put another 5 spot on, get offers above, excuse me, and basically again taking advantage of retail prices and getting into positions at the appropriate levels and exiting on the pops as well. So coming up here, point off the low, quite a bit of air that I would call in the 5-minute chart that will likely fill through a combination of price and time. And we are continuing to exit this trade. There's the 175 exit offering 22. There's the 22 exit. And I've got a 5 spot up at 22.75, which will actually fill here in just a little bit. So we will fast forward one more time. Well, market now down at 1950. I still have my 5 spot on, and this is getting really ridiculous. So I'm going to bid here 1975, get back in. I exited most of my position on that last move up. In at 975.15, throw the offer back up to the north. Again, market putting a new low in, but holding it. Even better divergence this time. You see it in the 5-minute chart, higher tick reading, and lower price, so that's giving me some wonderful comfort. Probably should have gone in about 30 there. Notice, by the way, I am not doing full size. I can trade 60 as defined by my account size for this particular day. I'm not even up to 30 on these contra trend scalps. I manage my risk with size. I'd like to be heavier on the trend entries in general, so keep that in mind. So in at 975, offering to the north, out at 2050 there, trying to get 2050 one more time. And always putting exits in above the market. So again, process of getting out of a trade that was entered at very very good levels there. As I look at my my timestamps over here one more time, so I will exit this 10 eventually on the way back up, and we'll pick it up when I do that. Okay, offering 2075, get out of my 10 spot, take 5 off there. At that point, I'm basically back to flat, and I'm going to play around with this last 5 or so. Again, just remembering this is not an all or nothing business, just taking price opportunities as they arise, trying my best to align myself with wholesale retail. There's no such thing as long short, it's really wholesale retail. That's what this business is always about. So exiting 3 there at 125. I'm going to have some fun practice, so order entry basically right here. Took another 1 spot off at 125. This is more practice than anything else. And I've got the final 1 spot up there at 2.25, which will hit in the near future. Hits in about 30 minutes. So we'll wrap it up with a couple of other sequences, and we'll fast forward one more time. All right, you can see in the trade log their executions. I bailed on that last 1 spot at 150 at 1029, and now I'm trying to align myself with the trend. You're probably wondering, when is this idiot going to start actually trading with the existing trend? And you have to understand that the larger trends are still up. The 60-minute, for example, is still on the upside. So I'm throwing offers above the market, trying to align myself in the wholesale level here on the short side. Trying again, if I can get in 30 to 45, a little bit heavier, that's my objective. Rather fairly shallow pullback here. I got 15 spot on. I'll trade that out short 15 at 23.25 with the intent of exiting into the further move down. So I've got my offers or my bids in below the market as it's coming down. Offers up above if I get a better price at 14.25. I've got 15 spot there, and we'll just trade this out a couple of times and see what I can go. So we got a bear flag in the 5-minute. We got a downtrend aligning with that. Picked up the market data from earlier on. Right, and I'll just see what I get. Don't know if this is going to be a single pullback. Don't know if this is going to be a little ABC wave action going back up there, a little double top or not. So I'll just trade these as I get them. So that's the first sequence there. Picked up a little change, and we'll move it ahead again here. Okay, getting a little bit of that ABC action, and I'm going to throw myself out here again. I've got a 60-minute trend that's uptrending, 5-minute trend which is downtrending. I'm going to trade with the immediate trend for the moment. That's the channel I'm interested in. Not going to go aggressively heavy right here. Just take out a small scalp. You know, this stuff does add up over time, and if I add up the previous scalp with this scalp, then it will certainly add up in the long run. So short again here, 3.25. Put the bids out right below that, taking advantage of the channel. And if it does continue to move down, there should be some more wholesale opportunities on the long side as the retail people start really bailing on the darn thing. So just minor tick action here. Just let the market come to you. If you get filled, great. If not, that's okay too. Reassess, take the next sequence. So I'm bidding here 5 at 22.50. Got hit by there, and got a couple more sequences to go, and we'll wrap it up. Right here we pick it up 12:15 noon hour, price down to 14 and a quarter. I made one very small trade in between here, but now we're getting to oversold, ridiculously oversold proportions. I'm going to take this, going to buy it 14.50, put myself out above there. We've got a midday push into the Europe close, into the session where everybody's going to finish their morning orders. Action likely not sustainable. Wholesale level down here. So again, managing my risk with size, getting bids in at the wholesale levels, another negative, extreme negative tick reading. People just throwing it out left and right, taking advantage. If people want to sell at that level, that's fine. They can sell it to me. I'll pick it up. Offers above the market, expecting it to pop, and we'll exit on any correction of the market inefficiency. This is an inefficient market in terms of how it's defined by technical conditions and in terms of what's going on in the marketplace. So again, only trading a very small portion, about 25% of my allowed capital for the morning, managing risk that way. And also recognize that we're in the general area of longer-term supports down here as well. So taking advantage of that market information. So you'll see here in about 30 seconds or so that I will bail on this, and I'm going to do one last sequence after this, basically a very similar one, and that will wrap up the day. So I know this is one of the longer Trading After Dark videos. Wanted to kind of walk you through the entire day situation where I had a good read off the open, good trade. The additional testing of that support level of 26, 27 area didn't hold. I had to adjust to that, did a little bit of probing in case the longer term supports held and it was just a false break. But once it did break, finally take advantage of the wholesale opportunities once it did break, both on the long and the short side. In terms of getting in at high probability prices and scalping. And again, the P&L, I don't want to dwell on that. I'm not looking at it over the course of the day as I'm exiting this long position here. But basically you see that the net result of all the trading actions, when you look at it in aggregate, whether it's over the course of several hours, over the course of a day, over the course of a week, that's all that's relevant. You don't add these things up as you're going along. You're making good decisions based on what the market is telling you, doing the best you can, and that's all you do. And the score will be the score over the long period of time. Again, you see I've got my offers up here above the market. If I don't get hit, I have a tendency just to reduce them down a little bit. Playing with very, very small size. Again, this is more practice for order entry. Thinking that this is probably going to be way too soon of an exit because I've got a whole lot of room that this thing can climb. So as I'm exiting this, I'm thinking that, what am I doing? Should probably just leave it on there. But actually, in a minute or two, you will see that it actually turned out to be a good thing that I did that. So we're going to pick it up in just a little bit here, and we will conclude this episode. Well, at this point, I've got out of most of that position, held on at one or two, thinking it was, going to be fairly dumb to get out of that earlier trade as early as I did. And lo and behold, look at where we are. I'm going to do this again. So we're down at 12.50. I'm going to buy 12.50. All right. Tick divergence showing up on the longer term charts, and I'm just back again at wholesale levels, and just do the same thing: rinse, wash, and repeat. So bought 12.50, still held that one from earlier, banging it out as we go up here at 3.25, and sometimes what looks like very, very ridiculously quick exits in terms of opportunity, sometimes they end up being your saving grace. So by and large, I think a very good example today of as I'm exiting this position and the pop back up. Of some solid trades in terms of results at the beginning, some solid trades here at the end. In the middle, we had a lot of probing, and some of those washed with earlier gains and later gains. And again, the net result of the P&L, which speaks for itself both today and in terms of over time. So over the course of the next few minutes, I'll go ahead and bail on the rest of this position. The day will be wrapped up, and that will be it. So we'll pick it up when this is concluded and do one final wrap. And you see the final exit here, and we get back to cash. So a very interesting day. Are there things I could have done better? Absolutely, but that is the case every day of the year. Certainly would have been nice to ride the extent of some of these moves, but nobody knows until hindsight. what the extent will be, and I much rather just let it move, get to ridiculous levels, and take the other side for very, very high probability trading. So good stuff from the front, good stuff from the back, some mix in the middle. We bookended it quite a bit. As I've said to those who want me to write that book, if I ever do, it will be entitled How I've Made Millions in This Market by Leaving Quite a Bit on the Table. That is the nature of high probability trading. You are the casino. You are not the speculator or the gambler. You take high probability activity. You see the net result, which includes a few trades that we didn't get in here due to time. And we'll wrap it up here. I will get some high stakes trading stuff up soon. Hope you found this enjoyable. As always, comments and t-shirts and caps coming. Take care and thank you.